Hey guys, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like. And this is the Everybody Hates HR podcast, episode 43. We do not have Velisa here this week. If you listened last week, you'll know that already. But we do have a very, very, very special guest. Today, I am joined by Pilar, who is a podcast producer and presenter. Welcome, Pilar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I feel like I introduce you as a podcast producer and presenter.
Yes.
I think people would understand like what a presenter is or a host, but what is a podcast producer?
Okay, so first of all, like, producer means so many different things to so many different companies. So the brief is always different depending on what it is.
And do you do all the briefs?
Some of them, not all of them, some of them. Because even like you have a producer in TV, you have producers in advertising. So I don't do like all of those, but there's aspects of them that I can do. So a producer is kind of like the glue of the podcast, shall I say?
Can I just say that I always tell my friendship group that I'm the glue of the friendship group, and they're
you?
always trying to reject it, but I actually am, and I know how critical that role is to be the glue.
It's an important role, and that's why like you kind of produce podcasts as well. You've got your own independent one, you produce podcasts. It makes sense that the glue does the glue thing. So what does it mean? So you're like the glue of the podcast. So you work directly with your talent, whoever the host is. You work with either the brand or the broadcaster that is putting out the podcast. Your role involves editorial. Editorial is my favorite part of...
As in the actual editing or choosing what goes in.
No, so editorial is the ideation. Like, what are we talking about this week?
Okay.
Or if you've got guests, what is the topic the guest is going to cover? What angles are we going to come at it with? Especially like... I've worked on a variety of shows, so you're going to think about like, what is the theme of the show and how can you have a conversation with this person? You know, when you're working on like branded podcasts, usually the hosts and the guests are quite well known. So you need to try and figure out how you can have a different conversation with them.
That you haven't heard anywhere else.
Exactly, from a different lens. Like, what new things can you bring out that they haven't discussed before? So that's my favorite part of podcasting.
And do you need to know about the thing that like your producer, like in HR for instance, it's helpful to understand the business, but I probably could be a HR person in a business which I maybe didn't understand too much. So let's say like, do you watch football?
No.
Okay, could you produce a football podcast?
It's interesting because I was approached about a football thing recently, but I said I'm not the right person for it.
Sometimes you need to know when it's not you.
Yeah, do you know what? I said, if they start asking me what's the offside rule, I'll just embarrass myself. I probably could do like, if it was a World Cup thing. Yeah. Then I'll be like, yes. Like,
okay. I know France, I know Italy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
But if it's now Premiership, Championship, Champions League, it's not for me.
Okay.
But I could do the production element of that. So that's another side. Do you need to know? So you don't have to know, but if you can, it's better to go with things that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Or if you're not interested in, it has to be something that you're curious about because it involves a lot of research.
Okay.
A lot of research. And also you're going to have to write scripts as well. Like sometimes the talent you work with, like I've worked with talent who work on like primetime shows on TV. So they're so busy, right? So they don't have time to research. So you're their eyes and their ears about the guest. So you have to write the research pack. You'll do like a very loose script for them and they'll come in and do their thing.
God, I wish we had a producer. we are, Velisa and I are the producers.
You guys are the producers. But
if we had a producer.
But this is your bag. You guys do a great show because HR is your bag. So it makes sense why you guys do this. So yeah, but it's a lot of research. And then there's... you build out teams. So I like doing that as well. Building out team, depending on how
you're a
big...
recruiter. It's a very HR review.
Yeah, more like a... you know the people that poach? More like a poacher.
That's a recruiter.
Is that a recruiter?
That's what the good ones do.
Yeah. I'll be like, okay, who is good for this? What do we need? If it's a large scale production, then you might need like a set designer. You're going to need a video crew. If it's like a fast turnaround, then I won't edit. I'll get an editor. Sometimes we even had to get two editors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you're on... The deadline's a deadline in. So it just really depends. So you build out the set, the look and feel, because, you know, now podcasts are becoming vodcasts. So video is important, set is important, set design is important, all those kind of things. You'll be the liaison with the client or the broadcaster or your commissioning team. So you have to sell in the ideas. We're going to talk about this, or we're going to do this, we're going to talk about that.
Do you know, I always thought it was crazy. You know, the people that do daily podcasts where they talk about things that I just feel like that's so much work. Like, and the turnaround just has to be quick, because if you leave it a day later, then it's irrelevant, some of the stuff that you're talking about. So yeah, I get it. So how did you become a producer? Like, if someone wanted to be a podcast producer, we'll talk about presenting after. Yeah. But how did you get into it? Like,
I came in an unconventional route. So this is my 4th year.
Okay.
Working in the podcast industry.
I actually think that's amazing because, like, for those that you can, like, can you share some of the podcasts that you've worked on?
Yeah, so I started out working on a podcast for Radio 1, BBC Radio 1, and that was the Reality Tea.
Which I think is, like, how can that be your starting podcast? Do you get what I mean?
I can't lie. And we won an award for it. Like,
that's what I mean. How do you just
mad.
come, like, and just be like, oh yeah, it's my I started out on Radio 1 or Radio, was it Radio? Did you say Radio 1?
Radio 1, yeah. It was a Radio 1 podcast about reality TV. Sorry, I've also worked on Dye Salon, which was a podcast.
By Dice. For Dice.
No, Dye Salon, as in, like, her
Salon.
name is, she's a dancer on Strictly Come Dancing.
And
her name is Diane, but everyone calls her Dye. And she used to be a hairdresser before she was a dancer.
And does she, like, interview people? Does she do people's hair?
She interviews people and does their hair. That's amazing. It was a really fun podcast to work on. So we've done that, and we had some really great guests on that as well. So I did that one. What else have I done? I produced press podcasts for One Extra.
That's my fave.
Yeah, you love it. You told me you love it.
Press. Like, when I first started listening to it, I was like, maybe it won't be for me, but, like, we live different lives, like, to the people, to the girls that host it. So Mariam and Adiola, but I just love it. Like, I just feel like they're so, like, they just have the energy that, like, I have sometimes, but I wish I had the times that I don't have it. Oh. So, like, I enjoy that, and I think that it's like an easy listen. Yeah. And actually, it's
chemistry is
great, and also, like, the episode length. Sometimes they're a bit shorter, sometimes a bit longer, but I think, like, they're a bit shorter than some of the other podcasts I listen to. So you can kind of, like, you can just consume quite a lot of it. Like, when I first started listening to it, I just went back and I listened to a bunch of them. But yeah, I really appreciate that.
I love that you listen to that. And I also recently worked on one for Bumble. It was called My Love Is. I worked on season 2 of that, which was really fun.
Was that the one that had, so that's the one that's with Tolly presents it. But season 2, was that with Damien India? Was that season 1?
No, Damien India won it. Yeah, Tolly was the host, and Damien India was some of the guests. So that was a really fun podcast to work on.
I love that. Oh, I love that. And then what about presenting?
So presenting wise, Reality Tea was the first one that I did. So that was my first, like, presenting gig.
Presenting
like,
and producing?
Yeah, well, we went in as producers. I didn't know what producing was. And I think... because me and my co-host at the time, we both were freelancers working at ITV. We were working on the social media team for the social creative. That's what you call it, social creative, ITV creative. So we were freelancing on that team together for a couple of years. So we were working together on shows, like a lot of reality shows. So, you know, like the, like, Towie stuff and Love Island and that. We were working specifically for ITV2 and ITVB, so we wouldn't work on the show's socials, we would work on the channel socials. So we were working together on that, and then she's an ex, like, radio girl. She used to work in radio. So she got a call up about coming in to a pitch for that, and then she was like, "Hell, I've been working with this girl. Come along." And I was like, "First of all, what does a producer do? Does he do what our producer does? Because if it does what our producer does, I don't want to come." But then we realized it's different things. The producer we worked with in social producer, he was meticulous. Like, is that the right way you say it?
Yeah, meticulous. Girl. Like, as in the font is 1 centimeter to the left, 1 centimeter to the right.
Honestly, if I wanted to be the best version of myself, I would be like him.
Yeah.
Because nothing went past this man.
That's not sustainable for me. I can tell you that now. If it's gonna be a millimeter off, it's a millimeter off. You're gonna work with it.
No, he was on point, and you have to be when you're working with TV and talent and all of that. So yeah, I came to the brief, and then from there became a producer. And then when it came to, so we were actually auditioning a lot of people to be hosts. And then the commissioner was like, why don't you guys audition as well? We did, and we got the job. We did that for 5 seasons. So that was
so, because that's when I first came across you. I think it was Selling Sunset. I think you did one with like Amandla. And that was really cool. And I remember, I think that's when I first came across you, or maybe, I think so. And then, I just thought, so that's how I came to know you as the host of the podcast, but I obviously didn't know like what you were doing like behind the scenes.
Yeah, we had an editor, but we would like be the ones who would set like the topics of each episode and would split the work. So you know, like how you guys do it, like podcasts are always easier to work on when each team member is as strong as each other. And I would say that's one thing, looking back, we were both on it. Like we were both on job.
That's what you want.
That's what you want.
That is literally how I feel about Velisa. I'm like, Velisa's like, she gets me. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. So when you find your person that you can like creatively bounce off of, the miracles we would pull. We would have guests cancel like the day before, but the next day we had a recording, a guest would show up. Like we just wouldn't sleep. We would book stuff. It doesn't matter what time. And you know, the other thing is when you work in a partnership, it's like, if I'm just like, do you know what? This isn't going to happen. We're not going to get a guest.
I'll be like, we're going to do this.
Exactly. And sometimes you need that film. If it's on your own, I'm just like, oh, do you know what? Yeah, tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah. No, but that's what I was speaking about actually just before we started recording, that when you do something in partnership with somebody, you do have just the desire to, and you like them, obviously, assuming you don't hate them, you have the desire not to let them down.
Yes.
And I think that goes like a long way. So yeah, I completely get that. So then you did like the reality tea, and then from there you stopped doing like social media work.
Yeah, I stopped. You know what? I had to say to myself, it's one of the things I had to say to myself, like, if I fully want to move on, then I've got to stop taking that work. So I do still, like, part of my offering as a producer is now that social clips is a huge way for people to discover podcasts. I will still always be like, okay, I can select the social clips. I know what works.
And you have like the background to do that confidently, and for them to understand that you can do that.
Exactly. And then also that, you know, when you work with different brands, like everybody has a different way how they like their social clips delivered. So, you know, like sometimes people think that anyone can do social. It looks like one of those jobs anybody could do, right? But part of it is actually really being able to understand and digest like how different brands work. So how they want their font, how they want their what is the templates, and you know, like every time you start with a new client, those kind of things can take a long time. So if there's one person that understands it and knows it, it just makes it makes everything go much better. And everybody just wants someone they can take on, and it's easy.
I think social media is very much one of, so social media, I'd say influencing, I'd just say marketing in general, it's just a field that everybody thinks that they could do because one time they had a good idea for an advert. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, or they have a personal social media which they grew to 10K, which is amazing within itself and it's great, but it's completely different. Like, and to also be able to do social media for different brands, which is not your personal brand. So, but it is one of those things that people just like, I think everyone just thinks like they could do it.
Yeah, everyone thinks they can do it. But one of my favorite things about that job was definitely like copywriting. Like, I didn't realize how much I enjoy writing, and I love like the challenge of taking on different people's voices. So like tone of voice, everywhere you go, it's a different tone of voice. And what I loved about working at ITV for the channels is that every time you would be on an evening shift, you would work from home, but part of your job was to live tweet the shows that are on that day. And that was so much fun because it's like you have to live tweet, but also you have to clip up a GIF at the same time. So yeah, you literally
of the show,
of the moment. So your job that day is you have to get the moment of that show, and you want to be the first one to get it.
Do you have the episode in front of you to clip?
So what happens is you will have a platform that you use where you watch the show. So you don't just watch it on TV. Well, you'll have the TV in front of you. You have.
But is
the
at the
laptop.
same time that
it's at the same time, and then you quickly just have to like click, 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 click. And get the moment, turn it into a GIF.
Somebody else will do it before you.
And then it's embarrassing when you're sending your report for the evening shift and your tweet didn't go viral or your tweet you didn't get retweets. So you had to be on job. So you literally had like 30 seconds to a minute to figure out what that moment is, and you had to write something that would be catchy, would be funny. We worked with so many comedians, like I know you guys talk about like HR and workplace and stuff. Listen, the way I learned to become a chameleon, because one time I was just like, I'm working with comedians, like I'm not funny. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like you're funny.
Well, thanks, girl. But you know that kind of thing, like taking on,
taking on like, how would they work?
Yeah, how they work, how they like have punchlines. I learned a lot of that.
I feel like that would be so fun to do on a show like Love Island.
Oh, it was so much fun.
I'm literally thinking about India playing that flute. Like, and I can imagine, that was the moment.
That was a moment.
I know someone was there clipping that out.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that would have. I can imagine that. That sounds quite fun, but also kind of stressful.
It is. It's fun, but it's the challenge. Like, you can't sleep on the job. The challenge. But even shows like Celebrity Juice was always a fun one to do.
Like the one with Keith Lemon?
Yeah, the one with Keith Lemon. That was always a fun show, and sometimes we'll get to go down to the studio and like.
So who have you like? Obviously, like you now just meet people who are like relatively famous all the time.
Yeah.
Have you ever been, or is there anybody who you feel like you could get starstruck from?
Oh, I think it would be Beyonce, isn't it? If I meet Beyonce,
that's what people say. I really think I could meet Beyonce and be like, "You're right." Like,
not
legit.
The Beyonce.
I really think I could. I like Beyonce. I like her music, but I don't feel like. I feel like I even feel pressure that I should. Do you get what I mean? I feel like maybe I'm supposed to be like, but I just feel like I'll be like, Beyonce, like I'm a big fan. You're right, Jay. Like that's how it would be.
The thing is, I don't even think I could tell her I'm a fan, because you wouldn't want to become like a fangirl, but you want to tell her that you rate her. Do you know what it is with Beyonce?
I would just be like, Beyonce, love the music. Keep doing what you're doing, babe.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Beyonce, do you know what it is? For me, it's not even that it's how she looks or her music or whatever. It's everything is just
on point.
Like the strategies, the lyrics, but the way she delivers, she's breaking boundaries all the time. Like it's what you would want in a, like we were talking earlier, like in terms of like, it's hard to be consistent.
Yeah.
Her career is based on consistency.
100%.
And I rate people
I rate Beyonce. I feel like she's consistent, but I also feel like if you had Beyonce's team, you'd probably be a bit more consistent than you are today.
Girl, if I had Beyonce's team... Do you think I'll be sitting here right now? You see what I mean? I'll be in the Bahamas.
Do you see what I mean? So, I like Beyonce, but I don't know. Have you ever been like? Is it just Beyonce that'll probably get you starstruck?
Yeah. Who else have I met? Like, do you know what though? I'm from the school of like, because I'm in my 30s now, right? I've been doing this a long time, and my first job was actually in the music industry. So my internship was in the music industry, and I was an intern in a team they call Artist Relations for a record company. And I met so many people. Do you know what I mean? Like Jay-Z.
You met Jay-Z?
Yeah, I met Jay-Z. Do you know what I mean? But also, I'm from the school of when you meet them, like you can't act a certain way.
Oh, of course,
you have to see them as people. You have to see them as humans. Even in my role as social media, the role I was telling you before, it's like there was a rule. You can't take photos with talent. Like if talent is coming into the building every day. You don't sit there and take photos with them. You don't approach them for autographs. You don't disturb them. You don't disrupt them. If you're in the like lift together and there's eye contact, you'll be like, oh hi, that's it.
Yeah.
Like I'm from the school where you're not meant to, meant to treat a celebrity like a human. Yeah.
I've got a friend who works at like a private hospital, for like maternity hospital, and she says exactly the same thing. Like, because obviously they just have a lot of famous people coming in to give birth, and like it doesn't matter. Even if Beyonce came to give birth, you'd be like, oh, do you want some water? Like that's what you're saying to them. Like it's not, there's nothing like outside of work you can know them. When you're at work, they're literally your patient, your client, your customer, whatever they are, isn't it?
That's it. They're just normal people. They're normal humans. And from my internship, like that's what I've been taught. In my internship, you were allowed pictures a bit more because I was an intern, isn't it? You know, when you're an intern,
they want to jazz you a little bit, let you feel like you're doing something.
And that's only if like you see other people doing it, or your boss says, "Oh, do you want a picture?"
Because
they know you're an intern. When you're an intern, they don't know if they might.
They don't expect the same level of professionalism as well.
Yeah, and also they're like, we don't know if she'll still be in this industry in a year's time, in 2 years' time, 5 years' time. Let her enjoy her little moment. But apart from that, like since I left that job, I don't think I've ever taken a picture like with a celebrity or whatever, because you're just taught,
so interesting.
They're just normal human beings. Like sometimes, okay, let me not be messy.
Could be messy.
Sometimes when I see people post it, I don't know, I think maybe because of the training I've had with work, like when I see people post it with celebrities and they work in the industry, I'm like,
yeah, do you know what? Yeah,
is that professional?
But I just feel like sometimes it's a bit embarrassing. Like I wouldn't want to like, and it also depends on who the celebrity is. I do feel like there's celebrities that are more forgivable. Like if someone wanted to take a picture of Beyonce, I feel we all forgive them.
Okay, we forgive. Even Usher.
Yeah, we forgive them.
I can forgive. Do you know what I mean? Usher, Jay-Z, Beyonce.
You can forgive them. Yeah, because you need to capture the moment. Yeah. Like you get it.
It's a once in a lifetime.
I worked on this. Oh, there was a time. Okay, so I worked. I used to work in a sports marketing company, right? And there was we did a production, like they did a lot of stuff on football, and they did a production on someone called Kenny Dalglish. He's like, if you're a Liverpool fan, anyone's a Liverpool fan, like he's like a legendary player for Liverpool, right? And then he also went on to be manager, and we worked on the production of like a documentary on his career.
Oh wow.
And the person who did social media, when the stuff came out, like when the document, at the premiere, she took a picture with him, and she literally she was like, nobody else took any pictures with him except the head of the company who actually knows him personally, but she literally took a picture. She asked him to come aside for a picture, took a picture of him, posted it on her social media. Like literally they look like the best of friends, and obviously he was very happy to do it, but everyone was like, what is she doing? They're like, what is she doing? And I remember I worked in HR, and they were like, oh, she did this. I'm like, that's actually not a HR issue. Like I don't know why
why were they complaining to you?
They were just like, why is she not? She shouldn't have done that. Like it's not.
I get it,
but it's like it's not a HR, but it's actually not a HR issue. It's just about decorum. And if you don't have it, you have it, or you don't. You have it or you don't. Like, there's no policy, no rule was broken. You wanted her to understand something. She didn't understand it. She did it. There's nothing for us to do in it. Maybe pull her aside and tell her next time, have shame. But that's it. That's actually it. One time, I worked at another company. I was head of HR for a company that used to do all the recruitment for Sky. So we had a big team that sat on site at Sky. And one time I was on the phone to somebody, and then he's like, gotta go. And I was thinking, oh my God, what happened? And then he picked up the phone, called me back, and he was like, oh, sorry, Anthony Joshua just walked past. And it was literally a fully grown man. And I'm on the phone to you talking about important stuff, and you drop the phone to go and look at Anthony Joshua walking past. Okay,
well, Anthony Joshua, we're gonna have a look.
No.
We're gonna have a look.
No, and it wasn't.
But you don't.
It wasn't even a man that. It was a very heterosexual man who's married. He wasn't even like. It was like, I really appreciate you as a boxer. So I even respect that less.
Do you know what though? Guys can turn into fangirls real quick.
No, really, they can.
They are the biggest fangirls ever.
It's sports. It's the sports.
That's the hill they would die on.
Literally, and they'll say it's not the same. They'll say it's absolutely not the same. If they see Messi, they can cry. But if you cry for Beyonce, they'll be like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, but for Messi, they will literally produce tears. Like people will, oh yeah, I'm so like people watch the World Cup, like they're literally, no, I just can't.
Do you know what's so funny about men, is that I saw one tweet one time, I think it was when Molly May had her baby, and they were like, oh, all these girls putting Molly May and her baby on their story. She doesn't know you, mate. She doesn't know you.
But the same men, when they did that, yeah, I'm with you. Like, I just feel, but I'm also like, live your truth.
Yeah.
I had, he doesn't listen anyway, so it doesn't matter, but I had a disagreement with my boyfriend, about men crying.
It was a disclaimer for me.
Listen, he doesn't listen. He will never listen to this. But I had a disagreement with him. I was saying men don't, a lot of men, they don't have the emotional range. They don't cry. Was talking about all of this stuff. This is very off topic. But he was just like, there's just certain things that you just don't need to cry about. And I was like, for instance, I think if you lose your job and even your man, you lose your job and you're worried, that's an absolutely fine reason for me to think you should cry. You're thinking, how are you going to feed your family?
Yes.
All this other kind of stuff. And he was like, I just feel like how is crying going to solve that situation? I'm like, crying is not supposed to solve the situation. Crying is a release
of emotion.
And I said to him, if you ever watch football, and we do watch football in our house, right? it was like when, like, let's say it's the final of the Champions League or the World Cup or just a big game and you lose, the men will cry on the pitch. They will open their eyes to produce. They cry on the pitch.
Sometimes even before the game is over, they're defeated.
They're crying. I don't have an issue with it because it's a big moment.
Of course.
But I was like, why is it more acceptable for you to cry when you lost the Champions League final, when you're literally a multi-millionaire? You got to the final. You have another go to do exactly the same thing next season. You're going to go home, maybe even on a private jet, and your family are they're going to be proud of you. You're going to live a good life. Yes, versus somebody who maybe earns 30k to feed their family and lost their job. Which one of those is the more pressing situation?
You better cry over that job.
Listen.
Just have sometimes you just need a good cry and then you get... And
you can move on. Yeah. And you can then problem solve after.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, yeah, so he was he was fanboying Anthony Joshua, and that's the hill that I'll die on. That, like, men can be very selective about when crying is acceptable. But anyway.
But I did want to say to you, you said it's not a HR issue, yeah? I think it should be.
Do you think?
100%. Because you know what? Now, sometimes where I can, or sometimes the people that I work with, like, they like to have interns in, and I like to have interns in any opportunity that I can, which is obviously not all the time. But, like I said, when I was an intern, we had strict rules.
The new generation is not built the same. I'm going to tell you that from now. I'm just telling you from now. They're not built the same. Even they'll even correct you. Like, it's not the same.
But babe, they shoot their shot. And sometimes I'm like, and I battle with myself as in like, let me let this young queen shoot her shot, or should I stop her for her lack of professionalism?
Yeah, so I don't think it's a HR issue.
Why not though?
No,
I feel like
it depends.
HR should set those rules.
That particular issue that I was talking about, that's not really a HR issue because there's no real rules on it. Like, people are just expecting her to know that it's not acceptable. Like, nobody has defined what is acceptable. When people have told you, look, we don't take photos of the talent, this is how we maintain privacy, this is how we maintain professionalism. When the standards have been set, like, then it's, it's fine. And when I say not a big HR issue, I mean, like, it's not going to be a disciplinary. It doesn't mean you shouldn't go and your manager shouldn't take you to a side and be like, listen, this is how we do things here. Do you know what I mean? And that's what, when I remember I used to work in, like, accounting. I was a tax advisor. And when we first joined, like, we didn't know nothing. We were straight out of uni. So there were certain things, like, rules, like, norms and stuff that they literally just told us, like, they literally spoon fed us, like, what is acceptable, even in terms of, like, how you dress, how you address other people, like, how you write emails. Like, they literally spoon fed us that kind of stuff. And sometimes I feel like you just have to kind of give people grace to be like, okay, you did that, but no, not again.
I get it. Like, I'm all for giving people grace, but I do think, like, it's one of those things that HR forget these days.
Why is it HR's responsibility?
No, but HR should set the rules, as in, like, I feel like HR who sets the rules when it's like, what you post on social or don't post on
it. So, like, it won't be like us to set the rules, but we will make it the policy. Do you know what I mean?
So I'm going to start snitching to HR then, be like, this needs to be added to the policy.
Yeah, that's actually a helpful thing to say, because, like, let's say the social media policy will be set by probably a collaboration between, like, some people from the business, like, let's say some producers who've seen some stuff or think this is how it should be, some senior leaders in the team, marketing team, the HR team, they all come together and be like, okay, what should the rules be? The HR team might put something together and be like, this is kind of what standard is, what should we do? But usually it comes from somebody who actually, like, somebody will be like, we need a social media policy. Sometimes it comes from HR because the reason they're making it is because someone did something bad. And social media is like an area where, like, it's very easy to get in trouble at work. Like, people post, like, I see people posting stuff all this. I saw somebody the other day. Okay, so I put a girl in a job, and I also have sometimes people follow me on, like, social media. I don't necessarily follow them back if, like, they're from work, but sometimes they find me. So we don't necessarily follow each other, but I know her social media, and I saw her in the Shade Borough saying something, which in the Shade Borough comments, which she said something, and I was like, if your employer saw this, they'd probably fire you. And I knew it, and I didn't even pull up on it. I was like, that's your issue.
That's your personal problem.
That's your issue. I'll be really annoyed because I obviously put her, like, I was the recruiter for that role that she's in. And I just remember thinking, how dumb do you have to be? Some of the stuff that people do and say on social media, and it's not even like, your own social media, even stuff like posting stuff in the Shade Borough comments, you can just get, like, in trouble if you post anything which is like potentially offensive to somebody.
Yeah.
And you know, and the way Instagram is set up now, obviously it shows you the people that are affiliated with you or stuff first.
Instantly. I always be seeing people, and I even know the like main culprits now. I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Listen,
they're in the comments.
Exactly. And sometimes it might just be a little kiki, which is fine.
Yeah, sometimes it's funny stuff.
It's funny. But like sometimes I'm just like, no, you people are actually stupid. Like you are just dumb. So yeah, social media policies are actually useful, and I think how it's like, but what you're talking about is not really about social media policy, isn't it? It's more about like just etiquette.
It's about reading the room, because some talent don't mind the pictures, and if they don't mind, it's fine. It's when that you can tell like the talent is uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? And then as a producer, you have to make a call whether you stop this or whether you let it happen. Yeah. But I think the main thing is reading the room. So it's not like I don't know. I just feel like people should read the room.
Yeah, they should. But you know,
some people are just there in the capacity of the job. They might have other things on their mind. They don't want to be taking pictures.
Common sense is not common. We had an episode. I think we even had, was it the title of the episode? But common sense is not common. So you'll be like, how do you not, like, you can see the person is uncomfortable. Why can they not see the person is uncomfortable? But some people, they just don't know how to read the room.
They don't. And I think because they're thinking in their head, and I get it. Like, I remember being a young intern, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm in the room with this person.
Everybody must know.
My day was Facebook, isn't it? So now imagine the pressure young people have when they know that if they take a picture with this person or they get a video, that's going like, that's giving them the likes on Instagram. Yeah. That's getting a moment on TikTok. Do you know what I mean? So I think sometimes people lead with that kind of like train of thought. Because even me, like I name dropped earlier some celebrities I've met, but the reality is they don't know who I am. Yeah. Like you work with them for 5 minutes
and then gone,
or a season and then gone. Like they're not your mates. Yeah. So I have known of some people behind the scenes like that do become friends with talent, but you never go into that with the intention. And sometimes if you're friends with talent, you can't do your job properly. Obviously I'm talking from a place where like it's been instilled in me. So obviously I've had moments I've slipped up and people have had to pull me aside. That's why now I'm looking at it like, that's crazy. So I wanted to talk about No Approval. So that's like we said, you're a podcast producer and presenter, and you now present No Approval. Yeah, my own podcast.
Yeah, so how did that come about, and why did it come about?
Well, the reality had ended, and I was like, do you know what? I actually missed this. So I was getting like some other like gigs. Like I worked on Black British Business Awards. Got to do some. Chizzy was the main presenter, and I got to do like some hosting of like events and stuff, talks, panels. I've always kind of done that stuff even before I got the Reality Tea podcast. So I was like, do you know what? I really miss having these conversations. Sometimes it isn't until something goes that you realize how much you enjoyed it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%.
It's like currently you're doing this podcast every week. It's just part of your routine. And then the minute you take a break, you might be like...
off, we had like 2.5 months off over Christmas, and I missed it. Like I was like, I miss this.
Yeah. That's what it was like. So it just took me a while to sit down and like figure out what my own concept would be. It was actually called something else before, and then I and I tried to trademark the name, and then I got hit with a I got hit with a
like an objection thing.
Yeah, an objection.
Have you trademarked your current?
No, I haven't, but I need to.
Okay, I can cut that out if you want. But like that's so funny. We haven't even thought about it.
The thing is, what I learned from that situation is, and it was a huge company. It's a huge company. We all use it every single day.
All right then. Okay.
And then at first I was like, you're bullying me. You're not going to win this, whatever. And then I just realized, listen, I'm too poor to fight them. That's the fact of the matter is I cannot afford, before we get to that court, they will cripple me financially. It's just not worth it. I was really giving it before, and then I just had to eventually come to my senses. But what the lawyer said to me off the cuff, so they're clever. They'll send you emails, but then they'll phone you and say other things. So he was like, listen, withdraw your trademark, and you can just do it like on your own without trademarking it. Yeah. It's only an issue because you're trying to trademark. Yeah. But if you had this name as like a concept, like no one will bother you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's literally what he was saying to me off the cuff. And I was just
but the issue is that if it does become something later, then that's literally lawyer saying this might not become nothing. Don't wish to like, don't fight it.
Yeah.
Now.
But the thing is, like, I feel like they didn't have that much of a. I used the term gram within the title, and they were fighting, saying that this is the, and I was like, do you know gram? Like, you know, gram was a thing before.
Yeah. It was a measurement. It was a measurement.
It was a measurement before your platform became a thing. Like, what are you talking about, right?
Oh, that is actually funny. That's mad. How can you be? Do you know what? Yeah,
They're bullies.
There's a. Have you ever heard of Muzmatch? What used to be called Muzmatch.
No.
Now it's called something else. But
is it a dating platform?
Yeah.
Yes, I have heard of it.
And so they had it. I think Match.com went after them, and I think Match.com that you stole our idea or something. And I think the founder came out and he wrote some long thread on Twitter about how they're trying to bully them.
Yeah.
I think Match tried to buy them. I think it was Match.com. Yeah, he tried to buy them. They said no, and then they was like, "Well, boy, that's it for you then." And then they literally went after that, and in the end they had to change their name. I can't remember what they're called now, but yeah, like, it's mad, isn't it?
It's mad. I know the dating platform. It's a Muslim dating platform.
Yeah.
I know the one.
I was like, that's actually rude. Like,
it's
how
rude.
How can you try the word match?
Do you know, like a match? Like, we had matchsticks and stuff before.
Yeah.
Match was in the dictionary.
Yeah.
They just use their money to bully people.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
But I had to just take that.
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to know.
I said it's not worth it.
You have to know when it's not worth it.
But you know what the wickedest thing is? I just said to them, okay, do you know what? I'll withdraw. Just pay me what I paid.
Yeah.
Like, just reimburse me.
Yeah.
And they were like, no.
That's actually so ridiculous.
Can you imagine? I was like, because, you know, like, trademarking something is a couple of £100.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, okay, I'm happy to withdraw if you just reimburse me for what I've spent.
But I guess it might set a precedent, so people might
That's
start
what
doing
they were
it.
saying.
Yeah. People might start doing it to get a couple £100.
I was like, cost of living.
Listen,
I was like, the economy, the creatives.
that's crazy. These companies are actually mad.
They're mad.
So was the concept of the podcast the same with the other name? Like, so no approval. Was you planning on doing the same type of content when you had that other name?
No, I've evolved it. It's similar, but I've evolved it, and I'm actually glad. In hindsight, I'm glad that I never went with that name,
because I think what you're doing now is probably a bit broader, right?
Yeah. It's so much broader, so much better. And
what is the
podcast?
Anyway. What do you talk about on the podcast? I know what you talk about on the podcast.
My podcast. So it's a hybrid podcast. So that means like I do two different things. So the main thing is I do interviews with people that I say need no approval in their pursuits. So that's their pursuit of anything. It could be like what you do with HR. Like you're bringing subjects of HR, but making it relevant to people, the Gen Z, like community, millennials, making brands understand that. So that's the thing that you do. And I've had people on the podcast that do various different things. I had a girl that has a page on Instagram where she educates people about fibroids. I've had Amanda from Selling Sunset on there.
I called her Amandla, so somebody else. But yeah, I called her Amanda. I called her Amandla earlier.
And you know, like Amanda's whole pursuit is about, like, she tries to keep it very real on a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Like, she talks about living in a bedroom.
When her husband went missing, I was like, what is going on here? Like,
it's actually mad. But when you watch her life looks amazing. So I love like the message that she puts out into the world, kind of thing. So
you did one with a PI, and I was telling you, like, I was listening, and you was like, oh, I was in like the introduction, like, I've been in this Uber with this PI and private investigator, and he agreed to let us like record an episode. So what I was thinking was that you either called him back and, you know, he came, or like you pulled over or something. And come to find out today that you filmed or you recorded that episode while he was driving the Uber.
Yeah.
You are a woman of many talents, because I would have never, I was thinking, how did this Uber driver's nice to then give you his detail. While you were driving?
Yeah, I just
That's
said to
mad.
him, as soon as he had a private investigator, I said, can I record the conversation? He was like, yeah, I just pulled out my iPhone. A lot of people don't realise, like, iPhone has such a good microphone on it. Like, once you remove the background noise, do a little bit of edits in the whatever editing system you do, like, microphone iPhone has a good microphone on it.
That's insane. But yeah, I just thought that was very impressive. When I found out, I was like, no way.
You could just imagine, like, that's what I was like when he said, yeah, like I do. Because, you know, a lot of Uber drivers have other jobs.
Yeah,
and he was like, yeah, I'm a private investigator. I said, what? I've never met one in real life. I said, I have to ask you questions.
Yeah, literally, like, it was anyway. So I love No Approval. Like,
thank you.
And it was such a great episode. So I recommend anyone to go listen to
Thank
any
you.
episode, but that episode in particular I found so interesting.
Oh, thank you.
I loved it. I
Thank
really
you.
loved it.
And the other thing that I do as well is like deep dives, and that's where like it's just me on my own. I take a topic and like deep dive into how it's evolved. So that's, and they're mainly from like a social media angle, because my background is in social media. My dissertation at uni was about like how the internet changed the media industry and the music industry. So I just take different topics. I looked at like Andrew Tate and the corner of the internet called the Manosphere.
Yeah.
I've just did
So
one on
the red pill.
red pill women and feminine energy
I
coaches.
haven't listened to it, but I need to, because like a couple of weeks ago I spoke about on this podcast. It was very unrelated, but I spoke about one of those red pill women that really gets she hurts my soul.
Which one?
Pearl.
I knew you were gonna say her.
I didn't even mention her name because I didn't even want anybody to be able to go and look at her and just to be triggered. But anyway, yeah, so I can't wait to listen to that. I did want to speak to you about something. Actually, I saw something just on the no approval topic.
Yeah.
So I saw something on social media recently. So just so you know, I know you listen sometimes, but pretty much every episode I basically talk about something I saw on TikTok, and Velisa says that I need to spend less time on TikTok.
Oh my
but
gosh, she is so funny.
I won't spend time on TikTok. I love the clock app. So anyway, my friend, and this one actually I was on it, my friend sent it to me, but basically it was a girl saying if you go out with your workmates, you shouldn't what's it called? You shouldn't order, if you're going to order steak, well, you just don't order steak, especially if you don't order it if you're going to have it well done.
Yeah.
Because she said she went out with her workmate. She ordered. She said she didn't really know anything on menus, so they said she just went for the steak. And they said, "How do you want it?" She said, "Well done." No one said anything, but by the time it came, they were all just like, "Oh my god, you've ruined a perfectly good steak." And she felt out of place and all this other kind of stuff. And she was basically advising people, just don't order steak if you're gonna go out and you like it well done. And me and my friend were like, "How can you change what you're gonna eat because other people are judging you? Like, it's just food." And I'm like, we literally seek approval in everything that we do, especially
100%.
at work, and especially to add another lens on it, if you're like in a minority group and you already feel like, you know, you need approval. I would like to add a disclaimer that I literally think that eating well done steak is a criminal offense, but I would never say it if someone ordered it in front of me, you know, unless that person was my boyfriend, then I would say that. But like, I feel like I'm allowed, and that's it. But if that's how you want to eat your steak, that's how you want to eat your steak. In a work setting, I would definitely never say that. That's crazy to then start dragging someone because of it. But I just feel like the need for approval is like literally dominates our life, especially within social media. And like, is that something that you have felt like in working in social media? Does it affect how you manage your own social media? And definitely like the need for approval at work, but not like not approving content, but approving of you. Is that something that you've experienced?
Well, first of all, I'm with you. Like, actually, no one should be ordering well done steak.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to flip that, because I think that as Black people, you do that out of habit. So maybe that's actually you
because we're
seeking approval from the community.
It's true.
We've got to flip it. That actually
It's
sometimes
true.
in a work setting, you should feel shame, because that's the only way you're going to get out of that mindset that we have to have well done steak. Do you know what I mean?
Otherwise it's not cooked.
It's exactly. Do you know what? Honestly, it really jars me. And I'm also team like, I like a runny yolk, yeah. So sometimes
I'm with you.
If I would
not too runny for me, like I don't want it to be bleeding all over my plate. But I can get with it. I love it.
And I remember one time at one of the old places I worked, I had that for breakfast. Like, you know, they'll have breakfast at the canteen or whatever. And the Black guy I used to work with said, "What, you have your egg like that?" As if there's something wrong with me. So actually, I think it's good, because I think
you should have asked him if he was pregnant. Because what's the problem?
So I actually think it's good that people feel shame in work settings, because sometimes that's the only way you're gonna open your mind
to different
things, like different seasonings or.
That was on, so like I saw again. Every time I speak about that particular blog, which I'm not going to mention by name, I say I'm going to unfollow it. I'm probably not, but there was one today with India from Love Island on this blog talking. She was on some cooking show, and she was like, from now on, she's not going to use all-purpose seasoning or like, I don't really like all-purpose, but fish seasoning or any of those, she's just going to use some salt, pepper, and some other maybe natural like herbs and spices and stuff. And everyone was dragging her like, oh, India, just say that you need the money or whatever. And I was just thinking, like, you literally can't do anything these days.
You can't, but also, like, she's absolutely right. Don't get me wrong. I think you need still a little bit.
I literally think, yeah, like, it's so, like, I don't even need to let you finish answering the question, but I literally think when it comes to seasoning, like, I am actually with her to an extent. Like, we need to stop being lazy. Like, there's literally other things that you can season your food with. Like, all purpose is I think it's already criminal, because it's like all purpose seasoning. Like, it's
you
not
think
like
it's criminal?
I don't necessarily. It's just salty and just unnecessary. Like,
but a little bit.
I just think we can actually season food with other things. Like,
yeah, no, I'm
we
in
rely
agreement.
too much on Maggie. Even me, sometimes I'll be making bolognese that tastes like stew, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? But I just think I'm with her. Like, actually, you know, put some pimento in there. Like, you know, do something.
Or even like fresh rosemary.
Exactly.
Fresh thyme.
Exactly.
Why don't you blend the things together?
It doesn't all need to come from Dunn's River.
Thank you. Thank you.
It doesn't all need to come from Dunn's River. But that's my unpopular opinion.
Actually, I did this episode, and Latoya, she's got this thing called womb bay, and we're talking about fibroids. So in my research for the episode about fibroids, they say the reason a lot of black women have it is because of, one, the food that we eat, and two, the products that we put in our hair. So sometimes this salty stuff is actually not good for us, and because it's got us in a chokehold, we don't realize the damage that it does later on in life. So I'm actually team like, let it be fresh.
Yeah.
Learn fresh. Because the thing is, it's so funny that people are like, oh, we need.
Oh
my gosh. Have you watched the food video? You're on TikTok.
I'm disgusted.
Simple salmon.
I'm always disgusted.
Garlic.
I'm always disgusted.
What's the one they use? Lowry's.
It's disgusting.
They just pour
and I bet it doesn't even taste nice. That's the worst part.
I can't like, it looks good, yeah, but I'm just like, are you trying to give people diabetes?
Did you see the woman that put the crab in the air fryer?
No.
Sorry to the vegans if that's offensive, I'm very sorry, but she put the crab in the air fryer and she seasoned it up nice and it was moving. It was so sad.
No,
it was really sad, but she put all the seasoning on the crab and she put it in the air fryer.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Do you know what, not everything is for the air fryer, because I even see people baking eggs in the air fryer and it's just I'm
gonna be honest with you, I've done that and it's absolutely, so we do this like we make this frittata. It's a frittata and it's made in the air fryer, and I will die on the hill if anyone put a little bit of baking parchment at the bottom. And I've got one of those big like circle air fryers, right? And it's like it's a big space, and you put like some baking parchment down.
You're really gonna die on this hill. You're gonna die on this hill.
Some spinach.
Even your throat is telling you just stop now. Your throat is telling you to stop.
So I'm with the air fryer. I was actually asking you about if you've ever felt the need for approval, and we digress.
Hold on, but I also saw another thing where some woman was trying to make puff in the air fryer, but it failed.
I'm not with it. That
one failed.
I'm not with that. You can't make puff in the air fryer.
I was even like, sis, why did you have to upload this? Because it didn't work out.
No, but I am okay. Pop up, I draw the line, but there's a lot of things that you can make in the air fryer. I bought an air fryer baking recipe book.
Oh my days!
No one can tell me. I've made the things I've.
Are you making cake in the air fryer?
No, I haven't made cake in the air fryer, but I did make this like puff pastry thing. No one can tell, and it was delicious. It was the frittata. I'm gonna send you my air fryer frittata. Have you got air fryer?
Yeah, I've got an air fryer.
I'm gonna send you my air fryer frittata.
But I
recipe.
do the normal stuff in the air fryer. You know,
like chicken.
I haven't actually done chicken in the air fryer.
What do you use your air fryer for?
I do salmon. I do like, because I think it makes like oven chips taste like proper chips. Like you know,
it
like
does. It does.
Order when you go out.
Yeah, the bad chips, the chips that taste good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, which reminds me, the other thing I was gonna say is that people in the community like to complain about the lack of seasoning, but every time you guys go out to restaurants, you're there with your phones taking the pictures of the food. Do you think they're putting all-purpose in the food you eat?
They're not.
At Sexy Fish, they're not using all-purpose seasoning, and the food is fine.
And it's delicious.
It's delicious. The black cod is fine. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, but anyway, we digress. This will not become a social media clip, so people can be dragging us on TikTok. No, thank you. I'm not gonna tussle with my all-purpose take. I actually think anyway. So, have you ever felt the need for approval?
Yeah. So I would say actually, like, yeah, definitely. And I feel like it's something that I'm trying to get rid of in my 30s, which sounds crazy that it's taken this long. But I would say in terms of a work thing, actually, especially working within social media, a lot of people who work behind the scenes of social media, it's only changed recently, but a lot of people don't post on their social media. So I would say that's one of the biggest things. Like it's very much a thing within our community to post the work that you do professionally. But I would say professionally, it's actually very much looked down on. And it's something that me and my friends discuss a lot. Like some people, what's holding them back is that their colleagues are like following them on social media, or they feel embarrassed, or they feel like they can't. But very much I'd work in teams where people just like their Instagram is literally just like what they do on the weekend, and it's normally going for walks in forests. Do you know what I mean? Like with their dogs or the seaside.
I guess, you know, I used to have a personal Twitter and a professional Twitter because there was some stuff that I needed to do for work. And I think I probably need to do it on Instagram as well, because there's certain things that I need to do for work. Like I want to like or engage with certain things on Twitter. I just cannot do it on my personal one. So I think I probably need like a professional one. But I completely get those people. I used to, when I worked in professional services, when I was a tax advisor, anytime I would come, the people that had me on Instagram that I actually liked, I would tell them never tag me in anything. And because I just didn't feel comfortable. Like I just felt like you're gonna know. And also I used to make content about hair. I've never done anything particularly like, you know, that would get me in trouble or anything, but I just felt like I don't like that. Back then I didn't bring my true self to work anyway. And I just felt like this is my place, it's my true self. You don't get that. So I just felt like I didn't want them anywhere near it. So I completely get that. What I forgot to do at the beginning of this is we usually ask some quick fire questions.
Oh, okay.
So I am going to do that as the last thing we do on this episode.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you these questions because one of the questions is about LinkedIn, and it just came to me that I haven't asked you. So I'm going to ask you these quick fire questions, and you're going to let me know. Just no thinking, just answer. Okay. So early start and early finish, or late start and late finish?
Early and early.
Okay. Good benefits or more money?
Money.
Work socials or stay home?
Work socials.
Okay, do you go? Or you want to be invited?
Do you know what? The work socials in my kind of industry, like, it's hit and miss, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, some of them, the good ones are good.
Yeah.
So if you just stay at home, you're going to miss those invites too.
Yeah. Fair enough. LinkedIn or Instagram?
Instagram.
I'm going to come back to that. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
MacBook or Windows?
Mac.
Trainers or shoes?
Trainers.
Trainers. So on the LinkedIn versus Instagram thing, is it like people post would you not post your work stuff on LinkedIn? Do you use LinkedIn?
Yeah, I use LinkedIn. The thing is, it's quite interesting that you say that, because I don't use LinkedIn enough, but people always tag me in my LinkedIn stuff. Yeah. So I feel like that promotes itself. Like, because if I'm tagged in something, the people who follow me are my friends.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Not all the time, sometimes. But yeah, and I get work through LinkedIn. But Instagram, for me, a lot of my clients, ex-clients, contacts, they're all on Instagram.
That's so weird to me. Like, I don't have any work. There's nobody I would not want to have one of my clients on Instagram. But
really, I have so many.
I would never. Like, no. TikTok maybe, but like, Instagram is about my life and my thing. Like, I don't even really post content on my Instagram. Like, sometimes I might post a 1-2 personal achievement, but literally it's just about, like, I talk rubbish on my stories sometimes.
Your stories are funny.
Like,
I
I just talk rubbish, and like, I just feel like it's not professional enough, I feel like it might skew how they see me.
Yeah, so sometimes, you know what? Yeah, I used to be reckless on my Instagram stories. Like, I'll just post everything. If I'm out, going home at 3:00 in the morning, I would just be outside on my stories. It's only now, this year, that I'm more conscious because the people that I work with, the type of clients that I work with is expanding into other industries, that I've realized that, wow, this person just watched my story. I need to stop, like, posting that kind of thing. I've just started a close friends just this year.
Oh, do you know what? I should have I've never set up a close friends.
But if you don't have work people, why do you need one?
Yeah, because there's still some stuff that sometimes I don't post things on myself, because I do have some people like that I don't know.
Okay, makes sense.
On Instagram. So then I would be like, maybe not post that. But I just need to start a close friend so I can be the worst version of myself as well.
Yeah, just be like the real you. Because sometimes I found, like, even early this year, my friend's husband had like a party, right? And he like had some old school MCs there that were just like on the mic going back to back spitting. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen stuff like this for years. And I recorded it, and then I just realized the white people really were watching it. I was like, oh
no,
my
but why?
gosh.
Why is that a problem?
Not that it's a problem. I just felt like
they won't get it.
They won't get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they won't.
And then it's like, what is she? Do you know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Like sometimes, I just want to shake my ass on Instagram, but that's not in line with my personal brand.
It's not. That's the issue. That is the issue. Close friends for. Exactly. That's why I've done close friends. But no, for me, Instagram is because you just don't know who will give you work. Yeah. And I have
I've actually got work from Instagram. As much as I say that, I have actually had work from Instagram.
There you go. I get lots of inquiries and stuff through Instagram.
Fair. Maybe I'm probably gonna make a professional Instagram.
Or people will be like, or sometimes I get recommended for things, and then I won't know who recommended me until the person says. So they will be like, oh yeah, I got recommended from so and so, and you're just like, oh, I didn't even know like they know what I'm doing, but it's just based on because they see it on Instagram.
I've had that exact same thing has happened to me on Instagram actually. So.
Especially as a freelancer, self-employed.
Literally.
Like, if you're not... That's why, for me, like, even though work people don't really like promoting stuff, I promote it because when you're self-employed, you have to.
You have to. You literally, like, your staff. People need to know what you're doing. And also, people... Sometimes I just feel like there's people doing less and they're shouting louder. So, me,
exactly.
I need to loud it.
Exactly. And, you know, it's so funny. Like, you said, like, I just post things as stories. Because now I'm just like, do you know what? Even my friends must be fed up of me posting stuff on my grid about I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So, even so, I'll just post it. I don't even put it in the group chat anymore. I'm just like, let me post it up. Because I just feel a bit it's like... so impressive.
Like, I think, you know, it's one of those things where, like, when you're in something, you don't... It's just casual to you. Like, for instance, I follow Melissa's wardrobe, yeah. And sometimes she just does stuff and I'm like, she's so casual with it. But that's her life. That's what I'm saying. Her life. When you're in it, it's just like, oh, but I just find everything just so impressive. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's probably like that, where like you post it and it's just your life. So it's like, you're not impressed by it, but I can watch it as an onlooker and be like, that's impressive.
But that's just like, I look at the stuff that you guys have done and I'm like, that's impressive. But to you, it's nothing because you're just doing it.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Thank you so much.
I've had fun.
Yeah, you have to come back. Well, I've had thank you so much for being my deputy stand-in co-host.
Hey.
I really appreciated it. I really, really appreciated it. Where can people find you?
Oh, I'm all over Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore, actually. But that's a conversation for another day. At Pilar of Society. And that's a nickname I was given during my first internship.
Pillar of Society.
Pillar of Society. Like from the post boy, he said, oh no, I bought Pillar of Society. And then it stuck ever since. Cool. So I'm Pillar of Society on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. No Approval Podcast. We have literally just started our Instagram at No Approval Podcast.
Follow that, please.
Follow it. Come find us on Spotify, on Apple.
You can put all your details in the description. So
thank you.
Wherever you're watching this, it will be in the description. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you so much for coming. It's been so good to do a bit of a dive into the world of social media. Velisa usually says, that's a wrap, guys. And then we say bye. Okay. So do you want to say that's a wrap? And then we can say bye. All right, go.
That's a wrap, guys.
Bye.
Bye.